She was so determined to get Dr. Heim, even though he didn't violate HIPAA, didn't do anything wrong, that she not only threatened him, come talk to me, apologize, say pretty please, we'll make it a misdemeanor. She also went after your wife. She also went after Dr. Heim's wife. Is that right, Mr. Lidle?
That's right. She alluded that she would not make any comments, or her agents make any comments about the background investigators for Dr. Heim's wife, as she's a new AUSA being hired, unless she became difficult.
And Mr. Lidle, when you understood what was going on here, you contacted, just like you would as an attorney, you contacted the Southern District of Texas. You contacted the lady who signed this, the Assistant U.S. Attorney. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that conversation.
Well, I reached out to her, as a defense attorney would always do when there's a target letter out there, because that could mean that they're going to charge the person right away. That's under department policies. That means they believe he's a putative defendant.
Yeah, normally that means they think they got a slam dunk case on this guy, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and they're gonna negotiate some guilty plea. And you reach out to her, and what'd she say? Did she know anything about the case?
She didn't know anything about the case. She had to talk to the agents, and she'd get back to me.
I was meeting with my parents, my sister. I was going with my wife. And so when the agents came, I refused to speak with them. My wife had advised me to not speak with them without an attorney present.
Yep.
But, we knew that it was so corrupt what they were doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to America First, the channel where we put our country, our values, and our Constitution above everything else. If you're tired of government overreach, corruption, and attacks on free speech, then you've come to the right place. Before we dive into today's shocking story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our content exposing the truth. Together, we're standing up for the freedoms our founding fathers fought for. Now, let's get into this absolute travesty of justice involving the Department of Justice, a doctor who dared to stand up to the establishment, and the terrifying lengths our government will go to silence dissent.
Gentlelady, for questions, I'll now recognize the chairman of the committee, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Heim, on June 23rd, 2023, you get a letter from the United States Department of Justice, Southern District of Texas. Probably a day probably a letter that probably ruined your whole day, right?
Well, so the agents came, this was a few hours before I was graduating from surgical residency. The ceremony was later that evening. I was meeting with my parents, my sister. I was going with my wife. And so when the agents came, I refused to speak with them. My wife had advised me to not speak with them without an attorney present.
Yep.
But, we knew that it was so corrupt what they were doing that there was a certain sense of defiance. So, we kind of celebrated this new part of our life. It was kind of a hard thing to describe, but something kind of came over us.
First two sentences, this office is involved in investigations dealing with federal law violations. You are a potential target in this criminal investigation. So you didn't want to talk to these guys. You listened to your wife, which was good counsel and good advice, and good that you did that. But you did go get an attorney, and you got the guy sitting beside you. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lidle, when you understood what was going on here, you contacted, just like you would as an attorney, you contacted the Southern District of Texas. You contacted the lady who signed this, the Assistant U.S. Attorney. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that conversation.
Well, I reached out to her, as a defense attorney would always do when there's a target letter out there, because that could mean that they're going to charge the person right away. That's under department policies. That means they believe he's a putative defendant.
Yeah, normally that means they think they got a slam dunk case on this guy, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and they're gonna negotiate some guilty plea. And you reach out to her, and what'd she say? Did she know anything about the case?
She didn't know anything about the case. She had to talk to the agents, and she'd get back to me when she knew more about it.
She signed the target letter, and she didn't know what the target was about.
That's my understanding.
Well, that was great. So then you had subsequent conversations, and I understand in one of these conversations that happened after you learned she didn't know what the heck was going on, even though she signed the letter that ruined his day, the day he's graduating from medical school. You have subsequent conversations, and she says, well, maybe he isn't a target, and maybe if he'd come apologize and say pretty please, we'd downgrade it to a misdemeanor. Is that right?
That's true. She sort of was a wink and a nod, like maybe we can pretend he's not a target. And I said that train's kind of left the station, and there's been emails with her calling him a target to me. And I said, I just can't do that, but why can't we talk about the case? And she still didn't know the facts of the case. She wanted to dead set to be interviewing Dr. Heim, which I didn't want to do that as a lawyer because I didn't want to reveal. I didn't know what she was getting at.
And so they wind up charging him with the maximum, like 10 years, I think you said, the maximum they could charge. And they were so determined to get Dr. Heim, she was so determined to get Dr. Heim, even though he didn't violate HIPAA, didn't do anything wrong, that she not only threatened him, come talk to me, apologize, say pretty please, we'll make it a misdemeanor, she also went after your wife. She also went after Dr. Heim's wife. Is that right, Mr. Lidle?
That's right. She alluded that she would not make any comments, or her agents make any comments about the background investigators for Dr. Heim's wife, as she's a new AUSA being hired, unless she became difficult. And I didn't really know what that meant, but I took it to being a retaliatory phrase that if she's going to be involved in this, then there's going to be something that's going to come for her too.
Well, what's she supposed to do? She's a lawyer. She's married to married to Dr. Heim. She's not supposed to give him advice or counsel or talk to him?
This whole thing, you know, any kind of HIPAA as a criminal case is so rare in this country. It's rarely ever prosecuted. But then in this context of this political debate going on, to come forward and charge Dr. Heim, it seemed just really out of control. It really was surprising to me to see this kind of a charge.
I think begs the question, why did they do it? Why did they do it? I mean, this seems so ridiculous. Why this behavior? Why do you think they did it, Dr. Lidle, or maybe Dr. Heim, or maybe even Ms. Sivage?
I can say that we found a lot of bias, a lot of conflicts of interest, a lot of connections to the hospital, and a closeness to these families. But at the end of the day, if there was any kind of issue, it shouldn't be handled in the criminal courts. It should be handled in the public arena, in the public debate.
Yeah. Doctor?
You know, I think that they went after me so hard in order to send a message to everyone else.
Of course they did.
Because I saw it in my residency, right? You know, the other people who thought this was awful, we actually had to meet in dark corners. We knew that we couldn't say anything publicly.
And that's the point. It's to chill anyone else from stepping forward. It's why they went and raid Mark Houck's house with all these agents. Why they'd send multiple agents to the ATF goes into Brian Malinowski's house and he ends up getting shot. They thought he had like 6 gun violations. It's why they do it. It's to chill anyone else from coming forward. We will make life miserable for you, miserable for Ms. Sivage. We will do that because we don't want anyone else threatening the left's position. And that is the frightening thing.
And I'll say one more.
And I'll just say this and I'll let you finish. God bless you for doing it. God bless you for doing it. And Mr. Lidle for defending you. Thanks for stepping forward, having the courage to do so.
And I'll say one more thing, right? They came after me in order to make my life miserable, in order to send a message. But they came after me, right, to make my life miserable. We're going to make their life miserable. All right, that's what we're going to do.
This story is about Dr. Jacob Heim, a surgeon whose life was turned upside down by the DOJ. Why? Because he had the audacity to speak out in a way that challenged the left's agenda. Let me break this down for you, folks. On the day of his surgical residency graduation, one of the biggest days of his life, federal agents approached Dr. Heim with a target letter. This letter, signed by an assistant U.S. attorney, accused him of being a potential target in a criminal investigation. Can you imagine? Your big day, celebrating years of hard work, and the government comes knocking, accusing you of a federal crime. That's not just intimidation, that's pure evil. But here's where it gets even crazier. Dr. Heim refused to speak with the agents without an attorney. Great advice from his wife, by the way. And when his attorney, Mr. Lidle, reached out to the assistant U.S. attorney who signed that letter, guess what? She didn't even know what the case was about. Think about that for a second. She signed a letter that could ruin a man's life, and she didn't even know the details. This is a perfect example of how bloated and corrupt the DOJ has become. They're no longer working for justice or the people. They're working for political agendas. But wait, it gets worse. After some back and forth, this same prosecutor, the one who didn't know what was going on, suggested that Dr. Heim apologize and say pretty please to avoid harsher charges. Are you kidding me? This is the DOJ we're talking about, not some schoolyard bully. And yet, when Dr. Heim and his attorney refused to play their little game, the DOJ threatened his wife's career. That's right. This prosecutor allegedly implied there would be consequences for Dr. Heim's wife, who was applying for a legal position with the government, if she didn't cooperate. Folks, this is retaliatory coercion at its finest. This isn't justice, this is tyranny. And here's the kicker. Dr. Heim didn't even violate any laws. The DOJ couldn't prove any HIPAA violations, yet they still charged him with a maximum penalty, up to 10 years in prison. Why would they do this? Because it's not about justice. It's about sending a message. Dr. Heim himself said it. They came after him to silence dissent, to intimidate other doctors, and to stop anyone else from speaking out about what the left is doing to our kids. This is all about protecting the far left's radical agenda. If you don't comply, they'll make an example out of you. This isn't just about Dr. Heim. This is about all of us. If they can do this to a surgeon, they can do it to you, to me, to anyone who dares to stand up for what's right. Now, let's think about the bigger picture here. Why is the DOJ so focused on a doctor who didn't break the law? Why are they using rare HIPAA-related criminal charges in a case like this? The answer is simple. They're weaponizing the justice system to enforce their political ideology. This is the same DOJ that has ignored countless real crimes, yet they're coming down hard on a doctor who's simply trying to do his job and speak the truth. It's the same pattern we've seen time and time again. From raiding the homes of conservatives to targeting pro-life activists, they're using fear and intimidation to silence anyone who challenges their narrative. But here's the thing, they didn't break Dr. Heim. He stood tall, and his attorney, Mr. Lidle, fought back. That's what we need more of in this country, patriots who refuse to back down. Dr. Heim said it best, they came after me to send a message to everyone else. Well, guess what? We've got a message for the DOJ. You don't intimidate us. You don't silence us. And we will never stop fighting for the truth. This is why we have to stay vigilant, folks. The left will stop at nothing to crush dissent and push their radical agenda. But as long as we stand together, they can't win. So here's what I need you to do. Share this video with everyone you know. Your friends, your family, your co-workers. People need to see this story and understand just how dangerous things have gotten. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to America First. We are your voice. We are your defense. And we will keep exposing the truth, no matter how hard they try to silence us. To Dr. Heim, his wife, and his attorney, God bless you for standing up for what's right. You're heroes, and you're not alone. We've got your back, and we're going to make sure your story is heard. To the DOJ and their corrupt cronies, we're watching. The American people are watching. And your days of abusing power are numbered. Thanks for watching America First. Stay strong, stay patriotic, and as always, God bless the United States of America.